Hello, I'm AD Hobbs, and this is a historical review. And sometimes I do history stuff. Well, basically, if something's a nice round number, like if something happened 800 years ago, 200 years ago, in this case, 100 years ago, yes. The Russian Revolution happened 100 years ago in the year 1917. And technically it was several revolutions. Yes, there was one in February, then the other one in October. Well, basically, more or less 100 years ago, the Russian Revolution happened, and basically, the Russian people, they wanted to rebel against their government for several years before World War One even started. But during World War One, the government was preoccupied with the war effort, so the rebels thought, okay, now it's a good time to turn against the government. And it worked, yes, they took over. There's one question that was never really answered. If Russia is in chaos, doesn't really have a government now, why didn't the Germans take over? Wouldn't that be a good time to take over? No, the Germans stopped their attacking Russia and left them alone to get on with it. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'm no military genius, but how does that work? Yeah. Anyway, is communism a good idea? Russia, the first country to be communist. Well, communism works in theory, but it doesn't work in practice. So Russia could work. Communism could work if it was executed properly. Okay, I'll explain what I mean. There are some good things about communism. Everyone has the same amount of money. If you're a road sweeper, you earn the same amount of money as a rocket scientist. Everyone gets paid the same amount, yes. So you don't work for more money, you just work to do your bit for the community, yeah. And nobody's hungry. Everyone has a roof over their head. No homeless people, no famine, nothing like that. No disease. Everyone's looked after and everything, yeah. It sounds like a good idea, yes. And if you have a special talent, like say you're a champion hurdles runner or something, then the communist government sees your talent and puts you in the job you're supposed to be. If you're a champion athlete in a capitalist country, then you would only get that job if you had enough money to get the contacts, yeah. But so that's a wasted talent, isn't it? You could be this talented and never be recognised for what you can do. Well, you're recognised for what you can do in a communist country. So yes, there are some good things about communism, but there seems to be more bad than good. I mean, when I first heard about communism, when I learned about it in college, I thought, well, wow, that sounds like a great idea. Yes, there's no greed, no hunger, everyone's really happy, everyone's got enough food to eat, roof over your head, but you have to give up your freedom. Oh, well, that's a horrible price to pay, isn't it? Yeah. If I lived in a communist country, if I ever left the country, the punishment is death, basically. Yeah, well, that's horrific, yeah. The reason for this is because in Russia or any other communist country, well, in a capitalist country, if I was a really rich businessman and all my workers leave, how am I going to get the products delivered on time? No problem. I just buy a load of them, yeah, because I'm capitalist and rich. You can't do that in a communist country because money doesn't have the value it has. You have to physically have the people make the products for you. You can't just buy stuff just like that. In other words, the government needs the people more than the people need the government. That's why the punishment for emigrating a communist country is death. Yeah, so it's horrendous. It's horrific, yeah. And the sad thing is, Russia, when World War II was over, they promised all these European countries a better life, by making them communists. And they agreed to it, they did it willingly, and then afterwards realised what a big con it was. It's a lie, No, we're not having better lives at all because we've got to work longer, hard and gruelling hours and never for any extra money. Never for any extra money, no. So you've got nothing to look forward to. You can't save up for anything, yeah. It's a bit like in the days of Robin Hood, the evil King John, his justification for taxing people so heavily was, well, they've still got enough money to eat and sleep, isn't that enough? And Robin Hood was like, no, it's not enough that you just have enough to eat. Man cannot live on bread alone. No, you want a little bit of extra money to buy something to make you happy, for morale and all that. In other words, it's not enough that you just exist. You want to be happy as well. That's why he called his team of bandits the Merry Men. Yeah, it's not enough that you just live. You want to be happy as well. Communist people were not happy anywhere. And by the late 60s, the Cold War was well underway, and Russia was still forcing people to be communist against their will. And their justification for it was, it makes them happy, yeah, we're doing them a service. Well, if it truly is what they want, why do you have to force them to do it? That's the creepy thing about communism, forcing people, other countries to be communist when they don't want to. And I remember learning this in college in Czechoslovakia, which is now called the Czech Republic. They were forced to be communist under Russia, and they were really angry and they felt betrayed because, of course, the Russians were on their side during World War II. And for a long time they left them alone. And they had this big speech when they rebelled against the Russians. You know, we can't stop you taking over. You're the most powerful army in the world. But they said this. They said, for 6 years we needed you. For 20 years we were friends with you. And for 1,000 years we will hate you. We don't want to live on our knees. We don't want to be forced to do what we don't want to do. Yes. And yes, Russia was, well, normally there's one country that's most powerful in the world, but in the Cold War it was two, USA and USSR. They were the two most powerful countries in the world. That they kept trying to beat each other, you know, with the most powerful weapons, the most advanced technology and everything. So that tells you something. America, capitalist, really advanced technology. Russians, communist, really advanced technology. Yeah, so the communism didn't stop the development of their culture. It didn't make them behind technology. Oh, definitely not, no. But the people were miserable, basically. The people hated the communism, yeah. And in 1917, when they changed the flag, the new flag, the symbol of the hammer and the sickle, the reason they had that was because the hammer and sickle represents the working man. Power to the people, yeah. But of course it was all a big lie. The people didn't have any power at all. It was the politicians that got really powerful. The regular people were more poor and more miserable than ever. It was all a big lie. It wasn't power to the people at all. So it is not enough that you just have enough money to eat and sleep. You want a little extra to make you happy, something to look forward to. You can't save up for anything because you'll never have any more money. So yes, communism works in theory but not in practice. And capitalism is not perfect, no, but the ups outnumber the downs compared to communism, yeah. Okay, so the Russian Revolution revolutionised most of the world, actually. Yes, all these other countries have this idea, this new idea of communism. But no, it doesn't work. Communism just doesn't work. And, okay, I'll end this review with a bit of philosophy. Okay, Russia became communist, 1917. And most people, the average Joe, most people were really miserable, yeah. Then in 1990 it became capitalist again, and most people are still miserable. Most of the working people are miserable again. Oh, so the problem wasn't the communism or the capitalism, it was the government that made them miserable. Whether it's communist or capitalist, the government always makes the people of Russia miserable. So, whether you're communist or capitalist, you must look after your people. It's important to make your people happy. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.